think we're live. What's up, guys? I hope we're live because we got Frank behind the camera. Mike's too busy helping Frankie install new mats in Saddlebrook. So
receive the new mats.
Receive the new mats. Installed tomorrow afternoon. So guys, we got a full program and I got to jet out of here soon to hop on a plane to North Carolina. So let's go over a couple of housekeeping items before we start diving into the questions. So guys, if you are interested in my Czech camp in Czech Republic in Central Europe, there's a lot of historical sites and Fox BJJ. I have a camp. The new dates are August 27th to 29th. And it's moving very quickly. The signups are moving very, very quickly. So if you're interested, guys, reach out to me or to the organizers as soon as possible. Second, I'm also going to be teaching probably a day or two at another camp in Czech Republic, also on August 26th, Robert Onek on Facebook. In Czech, it's a different name. But anyways, guys, the other thing that I wanted to tell you, and I'd like you to help me support the Indian BJJ scene. One of my students, Anand Sharma, obviously, you know, India is going through a rough situation with COVID. He runs BJJ in Jajjar in India. It's about an hour outside of New Delhi, I think, an hour and a half. Anyway, Sunday, June 13th, I'll be doing a Zoom seminar, 2-hour Zoom seminar. And the benefit it will be for this school in India, okay? So I hope you guys can help me support them. The suggested donation will be $20. We'll have a link posted shortly. So stay tuned for that. And again, guys, so what I'll do is I'll pick a topic. If you have any suggestions, please put them down. And we'll spend a bulk of the 2 hours on the topic specifically. And then we'll go to, you know, some additional Q&A at the end. All right, so guys, we're going to start out with a question that I think we had, the guy that asked the question is a long-term viewer, Piotr Zawadzki from London, Antivirus Tribe. Piotr, he asked on the last one, it was an Omoplata question. And he kind of got his answer. He kind of reviewed some of the materials. There's a lot of materials out there on Omoplata from a lot of different people, including myself. There's a free video with Firaz Zahabi on the TriStar Gym channel. There's a paid video that is linked on that. So, but I wanted to kind of go a couple of clarifications. So his issue was that he was having a trouble going from lined up to perpendicular. If you have watched any of the Omoplata videos or any troubleshooting videos that I've done on Omoplata, is when you have a hard time breaking the guy down, breaking his posture, you have to go alternate perpendicular to lined up. So because if I attack Omoplata on Enrique, if he defends by posturing up, okay, I can try to fight it by going perpendicular. If he tries to fight the perpendicularity, what he does is he starts to break his posture, which allows me to finish the traditional Omoplata, okay? So going from perpendicular to lined up, okay? But there's a few other things that you need to keep in mind, and I think Piotr hit on one of the things, and I advocate that very clearly, is when you attack Omoplata, you need to be, as soon as you can, you need to move your leg, the inside leg, from his shoulder to his elbow. When you're at the shoulder, people have a lot of power. The closer to the core you are, is the more power they have. The further out you get out on the limb, the less you have more leverage, the easier it is to break them down. So you have to move quickly from the shoulder to the elbow. So what I'm talking about is this. So when I attack, initially I may be at the shoulder, but quickly I need to move to the elbow. That's where your leverage is going to be the strongest. But let's look at it before we get there, the breakdown, because I think a lot of people attack Omoplata, just kind of bend the leg and stay So bend the leg and stay at the shoulder. This is very easy for somebody to pick you up. And it's going to be, if I'm here, it's going to be very difficult for me to go perpendicular, okay? Or break Enrique down in any fashion. Even if you can cut your leg, you can kind of like you're chopping down to hope that you're going to get something going. At some point, you might be able to heist and come in after him. But you have to have perfect timing for that. So what is the reason why it became difficult for me to either go perpendicular or to come down to the elbow? Hopefully you should be able to do both, but those will generally break the guy down, but you need to have a good start. And before, if you don't have a good start, you're going to have a very hard time getting an omoplata going, except maybe that sort of hip heist. So can somebody tell me if they know what makes a good start for an omoplata? There's a delay.
Well, we have good morning from Dublin, Ireland. We have a lot of good mornings coming in, so no one told us yet.
All right, guys. I know there's a lag, so it's a bit of a rhetorical question. It's not a rhetorical question, but so notice how when I attack. So, guys, what I tell you that you need to do before you have any attacks on the upper body from why are you getting a stronger grip?
I'm just putting my hand here. Okay. Just bending my fingers.
Oh, all right. Bending your fingers, grabbing my pants. All right. So, guys, anytime you attack somebody from the guard and you want to have an upper body attack, whether it's the arms or the neck, you need to break their posture first. That's one of the reasons why I like the split guard to begin with. But first, if I'm going to attack, if his hand is on my torso, I will attack arm drags. I will attack arm bars. I may attack with a gatame, but in order for me to attack omoplata, I need his hand off my torso. So first thing, I need his hand off my torso. You can do it in a variety of ways. You can do it with hands, but most effective is to turn your body and then slide in with your torso and use your right leg, in this case, to start to isolate. So now his posture is broken. Now watch this is what people do. They bend their leg and go close to the shoulder. And now it's sort of a race. So to avoid the race, when I isolate the arm, what I do is I keep my leg fairly straight. So it almost like, if he doesn't go with it a little bit, it starts to cause pressure, and it could actually be quite significant pressure on his elbow. So again, if I just bend it by the shoulder, he can start immediately to lift. So right now, the first thought is to protect his arm. And right away, I already have perpendicular. So in order for him to defend now, is he starts to posture up. But by now, I already have the initial setup to start to go perpendicular or lined up. But you need to threaten that arm immediately. You cannot just there is no pressure on the elbow. So even though he has to kind of react to the omoplata, there is no pressure on his elbow to cause him to break his own posture and start defending the arm. He basically can posturally defend right away. So what I need to do again is first, get his hand off my torso. You can use your hands to push it off, but the part that I like the most is I turn, it starts to slip, and then I use my leg to feed it. As soon as I feed it, I start initially with my leg fairly straight, and I'm pressuring him down with the inner part of my thigh, and now I can sort of start to go immediately into the attack. Whether it's traditional, at this point, if he starts to defend, I can play lined up. He starts to posture up, perpendicular. Now it will happen for you. So again, it's that initial attack which causes him to, he has to do this versus just bend his elbow and posture up. Can you guys see what I mean by first get his hand off your torso and pressure the elbow, so he has to not just break his own posture and start to bend his arm, but he has to actually move his torso. Otherwise, if you just kind of bend your leg and attack at the shoulder, all you need to do is just this. Posture up. This movement is a lot easier than, oh crap, and now try to posture up. So you put him on the run. What puts him on the run is threat to the elbow first. Okay? Ultimately, Omoplata is a shoulder lock, but it's a threat on the elbow that puts him on the run because it breaks his posture and misaligns him. Okay? So it's not just this that he can just lift. Okay? It's this. And now he has to lift and he's misaligned. So guys, that pressure on the elbow is covered in short arm bar, short arm lock. I'm sure there's an index, episode 50. If you don't have the YouTube app, which I don't, I can't find it. But if you have the app, you should be able to find it under episode 50 of the antivirus edition. Adolfo Ferranda has been nice enough to continually update it, and it refers to all the technical all the techniques, whether I've done it in the antivirus edition, the monthly edition, the weekly edition, with Firaz Zahabi on the TriStar channel. So there's a lot of material. So look for that. Do we have any questions on this?
Not questions, great detail, pure gold, but we do have multiple questions concerning mount escape, specifically your elbow escape from when someone's mounted on you.
Okay. All right. So guys, let's look at sort of just two basic fundamental mounts. Okay. There's a lot of different varieties, but I'm going to go back to the camera. So understand the context first, okay? Byron, by the way, I have your question. We'll try to answer it next time. I'm not quite sure if we're going to get to it. But is this like jiu-jitsu? Don't make me go into your defensive mode. All right? So guys, there's two fundamentally... No, stay like this. So if I'm in a self-defense scenario, people in a self-defense situation or MMA situation will generally have their knees close, okay? So they can posture up and start, yes. Okay? Now, notice what I just did when I went from striking to grappling scenario. Let's turn around so they can see it again. So guys, when you're in a striking scenario, my knees are going to be fairly close so I can get good posture, good height to be able to strike. The minute I'm going from striking scenario, look what happens to my knees. My knees start to splay, start to open up. And this is for a good base, and now I can start to attack, whatever it may be. All right? So understand that there are two best escapes from the mount. Usually from an MMA or striking or self-defense scenario, the best one is you just, as you're striking, you trap the arm and you turn. Or just about as I hit him, he goes, you just power. Notice that as I hit him, I'm going now because I'm no longer, for this split second, I'm not in a position to hit him. I start to open up my knees. If my knees stay closed, Enrique could just hoist me off. Okay? So, if I'm mounted and this is a again, MMA self-defense scenario, my knees may be close, but as I'm alternating between grappling and striking, did you see how my knees move in and out? So when I'm in a grappling scenario, my knees go wide. In striking, they go narrow. So if the guy can trap your arm, he's going to roll you. Okay? Now, now I will finish him with the Urigatana. So, in a grappling scenario, I use an elbow escape. One of the biggest problems that people have when they use the elbow escape, and it's a misnomer, it's not so much an elbow escape as much as forearm, all right, is the fact that I know in a grappling scenario, the guy's knees are going to split. They're going to open up. By the way, there is a few other mounts before I go down that path. Just turn sideways. So guys, if I mount on a good leg locker, what I'll do is I'll keep my feet on the inside too. That's almost the same as if, you know, traditional grappling mount, but this prevents him from kipping and attacking my legs. If I feel in danger, I'll just get off and try to attack the upper body. But let's go back to the grappling scenario. So I know that if he's in a grappling scenario, and guess what? If you have a good guy on top, and this is an MMA scenario where he's teeing off, once you slip, he needs to briefly, at least for a split second, go into a grappling mode, open his knees. So that's your opportunity. The biggest mistake people make is they want to kind of have their cake and eat it too, meaning that they're trying to face up to the ceiling. All right? When you're in a rough position, it's not going to be a walk in the park. You got to understand, people like sometimes when I teach a seminar or class, Fox, this was really hard. No shit. If it wasn't hard, this would not be a bad position. So what you have to do is make a commitment to the escape. Once you make the commitment to the escape, your training partner, your opponent, has to try to counter you. So you need to know that escape, but also what do I do if he starts to counter? So let's look at that, okay? So Enrique is mounted and his knees are wide. All right, first, notice I'll drop one of my legs. So I'm gonna escape right side, okay? My right side. So I drop my right leg flat to make sure he cannot go under the leg. If I can't do that, if he's under the leg, you can use your other foot to push it down, swim inside, and now it's flat. Now it's time to go. Bring the outside hand in, and I'm not looking to lift him, I'm just looking to frame across, okay? I don't want to leave it out here because if he starts to slide, now my arm gets isolated. You've seen me armbar people like this. So my left hand is going to go inside, across. And I'm not pushing him, I'm just framing. I'm going to lift my butt off the ground a little bit, and I'm going to start to push with my elbow. I want to get my right leg underneath his leg. Okay? Can you pivot around a little bit right there? If I have a hard time getting under his foot, use your other leg to help. Once I'm here, guys, now I'm going to go into half guard. Again, this is a question, what happens if this is a grappling versus MMA scenario? So if this is a purely grappling scenario, I know that at this point he's going to try, as this is happening, he's going to try to slide to my back. I know that he's going to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to put him back in full guard. Now, you have to be careful, and the scenario is different when you got to keep going. Yeah. Guys, if this is an MMA scenario, your escape is going to be different. He doesn't have to go to back. You can strike significantly from the top of somebody's half guard. So again, once you make that commitment, move fast before you get that hit that's going to sort of short circuit everything that you're doing. Now you're in a lot of trouble. So let's look at it again. So I bring my left hand across, slide my right leg under his. If I can't, I'll use my left foot to lift it. And now, again, chances are, well, I was going to go over grappling, but so But I'm prepared for anything, guys. Oh, God. How the tables have turned. That's all right. So, guys, you got to be prepared for anything. And you could see that almost instinctively. I started to block his right hand with my left hand. There is a difference between pure sport BJJ and BJJ for MMA. And you need to be aware from the, as you train, you need to be able, especially if you're training for MMA or self-defense, you need to be aware constantly in any position you're in of your opponent's ability to strike you repeatedly. There's positions that you probably can't avoid one hit. Hopefully it's not, hopefully it's not a clean hit, but you may not be able to avoid that. But you cannot stay in positions where the guy can hit you 2-3 times unanswered, clean. That probably will be done. And that's one of the things that I think sometimes people tend to forget about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's primarily, for most people, when they train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they don't train for sport. Most people train for self-defense. Okay? And you cannot forget that, and you need to be aware at all times. So you constantly, when I teach my classes, I always look at 2 contexts. Grappling, where you cannot be punched, except by accident. I've been cut by accident many times. Or self-defense, which I think MMA is probably the closest proxy for self-defense. Do we have any follow-up questions on this?
Somebody requested seeing it from a different angle, but you covered it.
So let's look at it one more time from here. We have time, I think. So again, when I'm going to decide I'm coming out my right side, all right? Now, guys, again, if this was MMA, I'd start to immediately. This would be my escape. That's if the striking is involved, bumping forward with your right leg and go into trapping the arm and roll again. But this being grappling, I'm using so I bring my left arm across his stomach. I kind of arch, my butt is slightly off the ground, and the reason for that is I don't want any space under my right leg. If I need to, I will use my right leg. If I don't, sometimes you can do this. Just push it down. But I'm committed to my right side. Now, Enrique, notice that my left arm serves as a bit of a block to make sure that if he tries to take my back, I can stop him. But a lot of times it can happen very, very quickly. So, and guys, as I tell you all the time, once you take his momentum away, do not let him get it back. That's all right. You can hide your arm. So, I hope that answers your question. Do we have any follow-up questions, and how are we doing on time? Because I don't want to miss my plane.
We're at the 24-minute mark. We had one follow-up question. Can they transition into an S-mount while you're doing that escape?
He was trying to.
He was trying to.
But you can see what happens. Again, you need to, as you train, you can, initially when you're just starting out, you will just basically just focus on sort of the elbow escape, even though it's more of a forearm escape. But as of course, as soon as you start to get under that leg, he will try to either take you back or transition to S-mount. If you're ready for it, it's not going to happen. You have to move. And notice how I'm blocking his right hand. Whether it's striking or controlling my head. Either way, and we're always going to submission. All right, guys. I will see you next Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time.